Okay, guys, the moment you've all been waiting for, or at least some of you have been waiting for. We're doing Ribera del Duero and Toro today, and I've kind of mixed up the range here of the wines that we've been having. I mix it up, not always doing the priciest ones in the range, but today I really did splurge on this Ribera del Duero. Okay, Tinto Pesquera. Pesquera is considered to be easily could be considered to be the second best producer in all of Ribera del Duero. Um, you've got Vega Sicilia, which we're going to be talking about. Vega Sicilia is the gold standard for wine, both in Ribera del Duero and in Toro. In fact, you could argue that they put Toro on the map, but yeah, Pesquera is like was an incredible producer. So this bottle was, I think, 50 something dollars. So we're gonna have some fun with that. The Toro wasn't particularly cheap. I can't recall, but I think it was somewhere between um 20 maybe 20 and 30. 20 and 35 or something like that. I'm not sure. So, okay, a little bit about these two regions. So we're gonna go back to the map of Spain, okay? And we have right here. So we had the Rueda. Remember last time? It's a white wine. This time we have Ribera del Duero and Toro. Now this is a really interesting area, and they kind of cut it off. But you see, you have the Duero River, which turns into the Douro River. Okay, Douro River in northern Portugal, and this is where port comes from. And we're going to do Portugal probably after we finish Spain. So you guys are going to see some stuff about port, even though God help me drinking port. I'm going to do it for you guys. But Ribera del Duero, so this entire area, it's very, very high altitude. It's very rocky. Okay, this is not like an easy place to grow stuff. Okay, you've got some cereal plants, maybe some sugar beets historically, but it's pretty dry. Doesn't get a lot of rain. But you can see this is Toro here. I'm going to do Toro after Ribera del Duero. This is a little picture of Ribera del Duero. But here's the thing. It's okay if the soil is not particularly rich with wine, remember? Because wine likes to struggle. Grapes like to struggle. Really good wine is made when grapes struggle. And this area is actually historically a very, very important winemaking place back in the medieval times. Valladolid's the capital. They had very, very strict winemaking productions historically. Now, Vega Sicilia, which was the gold standard producer in Ribera del Duero, it goes all the way back to the 1860s, and it actually used Bordeaux varietals. If you guys remember in Rioja, that when Bordeaux got hit by that bug, phylloxera, and it decimated their vineyards, all these producers moved to Rioja. Some moved to Ribera del Duero too. And so Vega Sicilia, it's got this long tradition, but they were using Bordeaux varietals. What's interesting about Ribera del Duero and Toro is that they both use Tempranillo as well as their primary red grape. Now, but the thing is, they're separate clones. So the clone is Tinto de Toro here, and I forget this is Tinto de something, and which is a very subtle thing. I'm not going to go too much into it, but basically, you have varietals like Tempranillo versus Cabernet Sauvignon, and then you have clones. And a clone, you could kind of say, is an identical twin that was separated at birth. So they're the same, but they're slightly different. They're adapted to slightly different locations. So when you get really precise into winemaking, this matters because a specific clone of Pinot Noir, for instance, might ripen a little bit earlier or might do a little bit better in slightly higher conditions. And so these clones, particularly the one in Toro, made some really, really good wines, and that was one of the reasons that it was picked. So this is the kind of place where the temperature gets very extreme. During the middle of the summer, at noon, it's going to be like 95 degrees. But then at night, it's going to be like 55. So big temperature variations, which is important, if you guys remember. It's important because when it gets cool at night, it preserves the acidity of the wine. So you have during the day all this heat, which is really, really good to ripen the fruit and to make really rich wine. And actually, the alcohol percentages can get out of control. The really good producers keep it low to like 13.5, but some guys go all the way up to like 16%. The acidity, though, if you have high alcohol and you don't have acidity, it tastes like shit. It's very flabby. But if you've got the acidity, it's balanced. So you can have a really, really big wine, but the acidity balances it. So that's the main stuff when it comes to these two areas. Toro is a relatively recent contender. So we had Ribera del Duero, didn't really start to come into its own to be recognized until the 1980s. It was only the second area in Spain that got any, how do you put it? That got recognition nationally. They got like its own denomination. But yeah, Toro is more of like the last 10 to 20 years. And it's been mostly colonized by people from the Ribera del Duero because, as we see on this map here, they're not too far away, right? Not too far away, just a little bit downstream. So now let's get to the best part of this and try it out. How are you guys doing, by the way? Everything good? Everything good with you guys? Just closed up the shore house today. So saying goodbye to that for another year. All right. Ribera del Duero. Okay, let's see this. Let's see it. So you look at the two colors between them, extremely similar, which you would expect. They're both Tempranillo. They're both from the same location, both made in similar style. Okay, they can tolerate some pretty long aging, but these aren't super aged, right? 2015, 2016. So let's see here. Oh man, that is so good. I want guys to know that you don't have to splurge with the wine. Like, you don't have to spend a lot of money on wine to get some good wine. You don't have to. But every now and then, it's nice to just get a really, really good bottle. Because people who say there's no difference, they're just wrong. They're just wrong about it. There is a difference. It may not be worth it. I mean, for every night, it may not be worth it. This is my wife and my brother-in-law's birthday party tonight, so I also wanted to open it so that it can be shared with the family. But I mean, the only thing that's off about this Ribera del Duero, when I say off, it's not been open long enough. Okay, because remember, when you open a wine, it's important because the oxygen comes in and it can make it smoother. So right now, it's also probably a little young, which means you have to open it even more. Because what is aging? Aging is a slow, like, gradual bits of oxygen coming into the wine through the cork gradually to be able to change the flavors and to soften it, make it more smooth. This one's a little harsh. It's a little harsh, but it's not the fault of the wine. It's the fault of me needing to open it for probably an hour and probably decant it because the oak is a little strong. It's a little rich. The entire thing is extremely rich. Like, the flavor is just like it's a punch in the face. So I think after decanting by dinner time, this should be better. Also, I'm not sure about Spain, but I think 2015 was a pretty hot year, so that's going to contribute as well to this. But I mean, it's so rich, like the fruit, intense, and the oak. We get a lot of vanilla. A lot of like this graphite taste on it, which is the oak. It's almost like if you were to chew a pencil. Remember doing that in like elementary school? You chew a pencil. That's what a lot of heavy oak will taste like when it's not when it's a little still green. It hasn't smoothed out yet. I wonder if this is all Tempranillo because this is 100% Tempranillo. Okay, so 24 months in American oak and 12 in bottle. Yeah, and it says, I didn't listen to it. It says best served when decanted prior to serving. So that's what I get. Maybe I'll get a decanter for you guys. Maybe I'll do that. But yeah, they actually even add some of the local white to Ribera del Duero sometimes, just because It helps to smooth it out. That happens. That's a very uncommon thing in the New World in America, but in the Rhone Valley in France, they will do that too, just a little bit, like 10%. Don't usually do more than that. Côte rôtie, maybe like 10 to 15%. I think even up to 20 is allowed in Côte rôtie. Okay, now we have Toro. So this should be, I'm not expecting the level of intensity, although I'm not expecting it to be terribly, terribly different. 2016 was a cooler year. It was a much cooler year than 2015. The 2015s versus 2016s in France is much, much more of a fan of 2016 personally. I like the more delicate than the heavy-handed, but they both scored very well. I think 2015 is actually considered to be more of a masculine vintage and 2016 more feminine. But I like the ladies, so for me, my wine should be feminine. It's literally exactly as I was anticipating the difference to be. Same profiles, same profile, same red fruit profile, same oak profile, just a degree lower. Everything is a degree lower. Everything it's much better to drink right now. It doesn't need to be decanted like the Ribera del Duero needs to be decanted. And so it's pretty cool. I've never had the two side by side before, so this is actually a new experience for me. But I guess the way to look at it is that Ribera del Duero is the second, that's like the TLDR. It's the second best red producing region in Spain after Rioja, reputationally speaking. And Toro is like Ribera del Duero's little brother. So very, very similar. I think that you can, I think that, you can go either way with it. All right. I'm going to get these questions out. Hey, dude, I don't think I love her. My emotions aren't this. I'm not sure what you're referring to. So we'll see here. Let's see. So we got some long questions today, all right, guys? So I just gotta warn you ahead of time. But I'm gonna read it out and I'm gonna give the summarization. Let me see here. All right. First question. Interesting question came to mind today. How can you tell when a girl you've just approached is shy because she's intimidated by you versus because she's not attracted to you? This is a good question. Okay. So, it's actually raining a bit. So I'm going to move this over. Just move some of this stuff over and put the wine out towards the rain. We'll do it that way. One second, guys. 1 second. All right. Cool. Okay. How can you tell when a girl you've just approached is shy because she's intimidated by you versus that she's just attracted to you? Biggest way you can tell the difference is that a girl who's shy, she's going to look down a lot, okay? Looking down is what happens during dominance displays. So someone looks down if they're feeling submissive in the situation. So whenever a girl is like kind of there, but she's looking down, she's kind of looking to the corner, that's a really, really good sign. And she'll kind of look at you and then she'll turn away. Look at you and then turn away. Very, very good sign of submission. Very, very good sign of shyness. And she's going to be more awkward about how she scurries away. A girl who's not interested is going to be more impatient. So she's going to be kind of looking more sideways. Right? When people look sideways, it's like they're either bored or they want to get out. They have to get out, right? Sometimes I do that when I would have loved to talk to the person more, but I can't because I got someplace to go. And I'm always late anyway. So the last thing I can do is stick around longer. So this is a different distinction. And you're going to see that she's just going to be more impatient. Whereas a shy girl is not usually going to say much. Whereas a girl who's just not interested is going to be like short, like, yep, okay, well, got to go. I have a class or I have something. Whereas the shy girl's gonna be like, oh, like she's gonna be, oh yeah, okay, all right, see ya, or whatever. There's gonna be like a very different energy around it. But the looking down is a really, really important part of it. Looking down's a very, very big part. Of course, I say all this, and you're still gonna have to just get used to reading these signs. You're gonna have to get used to feeling your way through it, because a lot of the stuff is extremely subtle, and you have to just sort of sense it. So, yeah. Next question: is it true that few attractive girls are truly single? That they're all at least talking to a few guys? I'm not really sure that I would agree with that. Um, I think it's better to say that a few guys are talking to them. Attractive girls usually have some guys who are interested in them that they know of. They may not, the girls themselves may not actually have guys that they're interested in. Okay, this is an important distinction. And I think that what happens to guys when they see pretty girls, they see that there's always somebody around them, always some guy who's showing interest. And so their assumption is that she's always got some other guy in the picture. She's always got some guy on the roster. And look, there's no question that with like some really hot slutty girls and whatnot, that if they have more like attachment issues and stuff, then they might be might always have a boyfriend, right? They might always have a boyfriend, or they might always be hooking up with somebody. All that stuff is true, but a lot of these girls, a lot of them are just not really satisfied with what they have around them. So you looking at a girl who's single and attractive, I mean, you have to be prepared for competition, but it's really a lot more about being prepared to deal with those guys rather than it is about trying to win her over. Because if she was really interested in those guys, she'd be in a relationship. I think it's more true that really attractive girls are in relationships. And so while they're like one of the few categories of women it's very, very difficult for you to pick them off. It's very difficult for you to pick them off, like, off market. Like they're almost always gonna have some guys gonna make the effort to grab them, and that's a really, really important thing to keep in mind. Um, with girls, I'm not advocating trying to like steal some guys' girlfriends, but really attractive girls, like there is something to be said that you need to be at least somewhat exposed to them already, so that if and when things collapse in their relationship, you're going to have an easy in. You're going to have a window in. She's going to have some familiarity with you, because it's not common that the healthier ones are not going to have some guy doing that. Sometimes you get lucky and you run into one and they just happen to have broken up with a boyfriend and you're in the right place at the right time. But generally, you have to just kind of have it on the radar. All that said, I mean, I don't think that you should be waiting for these girls to break up with their boyfriends. I mean, it's ridiculous. Just making a factual statement that these girls usually have boyfriends, and but if they're single, you gotta, like, if they're single, it doesn't matter what other guys are showing interest. Your issue here is more getting over your own bullshit and not being afraid of those guys. They're mostly trying to intimidate you. They're not necessarily turning her on. And there's a lot of movies that indicate this fact. That all these guys are interested in her, and he thinks that she likes those guys and she doesn't. So, okay, next question. A friend, 20-year-old friend of mine, once shared some seriously strange advice that his brother gave him. It was, before going out and interacting with women, do something ridiculous to your penis. Like, I haven't read these before. I just put them in. People send me questions. I just put them on here. I don't read them. Do something ridiculous to your penis, like wrap it in duct tape or paint it with blue makeup. It didn't matter. It just had to be something humiliating. So if you went home with a girl, she would quickly notice, freak out, and tell everybody that you're clinically insane. The point is to internalize the fact that the possibility of things escalating to sex is zero. It's very odd, but it makes sense to me. It seems liberating. I often find that my attempts to create sexual tension are mentally taxing and make me nervous and uptight. And by removing the possibility of sex, I no longer feel like I have to act a certain way to get it because I'm not getting it regardless. What do you think about this? And what issue for men is this ultimately dealing with? Props on one of the most interesting questions I've ever gotten. Actually, the question itself is really good. The story is hilarious. I mean, it's hilarious. The only thing that I've heard of that reminds me of this is, and I cannot remember who the person is. Can't remember who the person is. But there was some pickup guy back in like the mid late 2000s who, to get rid of approach anxiety, would, from what I heard, I mean, I can't vouch for this. He would basically like look like Oscar from Sesame Street. Like he would be filthy, like covered in trash, basically like wearing a trash bag, just be completely disgusting. And he'd go up to women and he'd ask them to have sex with him. And or no, these are maybe two different exercises. So he would go and approach women like this, and then there was another exercise where he would just go and approach every woman and ask them to have sex. And the lesson from that latter one was that 1 out of 100 women will sleep with you if you just directly approach them looking for sex, which was kind of interesting. Um, would not recommend it because, I mean, this is the kind of person who's willing to get like shit thrown at him, slapped, beaten up by other guys. Really not a smart decision. Although I guess you have to appreciate that there are some people who are willing to test the limits of socialization. But I think it's the same guy. I think it's the same guy, and he would do this whole trash thing. He'd approach women just like filthy, with the express expectation that every single woman would reject him, and the purpose of it was just to get used to being rejected. This like duct tape your dick and look like a clinically insane person, to go approach girls without the intention of sex behind it. I think it plays on similar themes. I get it. Okay, I get it. I don't really think that this is the way to go about doing stuff, because and here's why. Here's why. I'm not going to preclude the possibility that this creates progress, but I think it creates. There is a philosophy of pickup that is completely oriented around guys hardening themselves to any outcome. And I think that that's an important thing to be able to deal with rejection, to be able to deal with negative outcomes. But I think that when this gets put into an extreme, you become really distorted. These are the same guys that just drill. They'll plow through things. They'll plow through approaches, and it's just not really. They don't have any sort of. They're not paying attention to what's going on with the girl. They're not paying attention to her emotional state. I don't think long term it's healthy. I think that they back themselves in the corner, into corners. So like you advance, you make some progress on one specific issue, but then you don't, you know, then down the road you create a bigger problem. And so to put it in perspective with this like duct tape your dick when you go and talk to girls, at some like you're not the purpose of going and talking to a girl isn't to shut down your sexual desire. Right? It's not to shut down their sexual desire. Now, you want to get used to talking to women without trying to take things from them, and the check to see what is the connection between me and her, and is there something here that we can that we have together? Is there some connection here that we can pursue? If not, no worries. But it's not about only doing that. It's not about saying I will have no sexual intent whatsoever when I talk to this woman. This will create problems down the road in my perspective, or at least it could create problems down the road. I don't really understand, like, a better approach is to take like a kaizen approach, and I do this with guys when I have them go out and talk to women. Is that initially, if they haven't been talking to women, it's just a matter of like maintaining eye contact and maybe giving them a wave on the street or saying hello. It's not about trying to move the interaction forward. I think it's much more productive to tell guys you only have to say hello to girls this weekend, and then to say you only have to have like a 2 minute conversation this weekend. You only have to make one assumption to a girl. You only, rather than say like, put your dick in a glass cage and know that you're never gonna have sex with her. I don't know. I feel like this is like trying to beat somebody to have them not get the correct behavior. It's about just trying to, yeah, it's just not the right way to deal with sexual energy. My perspective on this. I'm not really a big fan of I think that guys need to be tough, they need to toughen themselves up, but never a big fan of any sort of self-denial or self-abuse. I think it's not productive. Um but you can try it and you can tell me. You can tell me. I mean, certainly it'll let you know that sex isn't a possibility. So maybe you get a lot more bold as a result of that. Maybe you get a lot more bold. Uh, could work. Could work. It's just what happens when you take that tape off your dick. Are you gonna then feel okay knowing that you don't have tape on your dick anymore? Are you gonna feel comfortable with that next step? I don't know. Oh, it's starting to rain. I think this is the remnants of a hurricane. All right. Let's see if this Ribera del Duero is opening up. By the way, guys, still like I think I probably put on. I weighed myself today. I hadn't really eaten much today, so 171. I have not put on more weight since the trek. I like. It's really interesting because usually when you cut or when you fast for like shorter periods of time, you're you get all this water weight back, but that didn't happen to me. Didn't happen to me. It's now been over 2 weeks, and I'm. It's been 2 weeks, and I'm I'm still the same weight. I'm like 171. I was 170. It's crazy. Before the trek, I was consistently between 180 and 186, and I don't think I've clocked over 175 since I've been back. It's really interesting. I didn't get that water weight bump. Maybe some fitness people can figure that out, but I did do something that was quite different than normal. So I don't know if that, like, I maybe didn't suffer the water depletion because of the electrolytes and because of, I don't know. Fitness people can chime in. Anyway, next question. Hello, Pat. I'm an avid reader of your material and has helped me change my perspective from toxic red pill. Which, by the way, a little aside here. I haven't checked out the video. I posted it just this early evening about Rolo, etc., MLD, Modern Life Dater, and I don't really get like too much in the drama, but I guess MGTOWs doxed Rolo, and also have apparently some confirmation that MLD is a pedophile, which is surprising to me because I thought he only jerked off to his mom based on the comments he made about his mother. I thought he was just interested in his mother. I thought he was interested in older women, not younger ones. But I'd be interested to hear their evidence. But the sort of, guys who remember, yeah, it's a YouTube video, Trey. It's a YouTube. It's I just kind of gave like an eyeball look to it prior. Uh, I mean, MLD. I actually like my kind of shit with MLD went back to April of 2017. So before Rolo even. Actually, the only time I've ever been banned from Twitter, suspended from Twitter, was MLD, because I well, I don't know if I say it here. Is it gonna happen? Because this is integrated with Twitter. I'm gonna say it anyway. I called MLD a faggot, and then I got suspended for a day. So that taught me a lesson not to just mess with Twitter's algorithm. They don't like those terms. That was 2017. It was a lot later then than it is now. But okay, the point of all this stuff, the point of it all, is like I know a lot about Rolo. I don't talk about it. I know a lot about him. I know his real name. I know his family history. I know where he lives. I know everything about him. I this is a combination of me. Actually, I am a former private investigator, but I didn't do any research on it. I just have a lot of people who hate him, and they all give me the information, and I don't share it. I don't share it. I don't share any of it. I don't do that because, well, because he's going to destroy himself, and why give him encouragement for that? But the thing is, like, not a lot of people are like that, and a lot of the people he's made so many enemies. How many enemies do I have? Okay, I have Gary Grinberg, GG33, convicted felon. I have him, and I have like Rolo and his retard gang. Like that's it. That's it. Nobody like people tend to like me, and it's not because I'm like trying to like. I'm happy to make an enemy. I'm happy to make an enemy, but I don't go out of my way to do it. This guy has made so many enemies. They're just fucked up people. They're fucked up people, and you have to be really careful because even though Rolo made some points about hypergamy, even though I'm the world's foremost expert on hypergamy. He made some, he's written a bit about hypergamy, a little bit. He's written a little bit about hypergamy, uh, just a little bit. He's written a little bit about it. It's like you have to just pay attention to these people's lives and what if every. I just hope people are paying attention because you have to be really careful about who you follow. I'm not saying that you should follow me. I think I'm for specific types of people. Yeah, you shall know a tree by its fruit. I mean, I just hope people are learning a lesson because I got so much shit in 2017, 2018, even 2019. I got so much shit for being like, this is a rotten fruit. Wait and see. Wait and see. So anyway, now the MGTOWs are going after him. And we'll watch the video. I'm gonna watch it too. I'll see what they say. See if it corroborates with what I know. Anyway, old news, right? Old news. Who cares? Who cares about that stuff? Just drama. It's just a little bit of drama. Okay. I'm an avid reader of your material and has helped change my perspective from toxic red pill. I'm 20 years of age and seem to be in a bit of confusion regarding my girlfriend. I'm out of the city visiting my family, so we only communicate via text. It seems like I'm always initiating and always trying to let the conversation flow while she's not putting any effort in. I'm getting fed up with it. Is that how it's supposed to be, or are there signals that I'm probably ignoring below the surface? No, it is not how it's supposed to be. And honestly, man, it's a very bad sign. It's a bad sign. Now, I want to make one caveat here, which is that some girls don't really text much. Some girls don't really text much. This is one of those things that you only really come across when you have a large enough sample size of women you've dated, and you'll find out that while most women will be in a certain range of text frequency and enthusiasm, that there are some that break the trend. They won't text very much, but then when you're with them, they're totally fine. And then they maybe will send large. I mean, there's one girl I dated. She wouldn't respond to text for like 3 to 4 days, and then she'd send like huge texts. Like she'd like answer an email, and she's an attractive girl, very attractive girl, but she's a little like weird. She's really smart, not really very mental. I got along well with her. I liked her a lot actually, but not really in touch with her body. And so she would do these like long email texts like every half a week. That said, that stuff's not normal. That's not normal. That's not how most girls are going to respond to things, not how most girls are going to act. And so what's the point here? The point here is that it's not a good sign that she's doing this shit. It's not a good sign. When women are very distant on texting, when you're away from them and that's not their style, there's only two things that are going on. Either if she's on a trip with some friends, um, it could be that she is just really engaged in the moment. I know some guys will get really paranoid. She's like fucking some guy. I don't think that that's just a way to get yourself paranoid. I don't agree with that. Um, although I do think that the behavior discrepancy needs to be noted and investigated further. But generally speaking, when a girl is not texting you and you're apart and she's like, I guess this is your girlfriend. Yeah, she's losing her enthusiasm. She's moving out of the relationship. She's less excited. And so what you do is you stop texting her. You just stop texting her, man. Stop texting her. Stop trying to start conversation with her. Let it go. And then wait till she comes back to you. You have to play a little bit of these games. It could be that it was just some little aberration, something was going on. But I don't know, man. I mean, it's not usually a good sign. Okay? The best case scenario with these, like, again, these little exceptions aside, she had a ton of work and she says, "Oh, sorry, blah blah blah." When a girl's doing this stuff, it's an indication that she's moving out of the relationship, or that there's been something about the energy of the relationship she doesn't like. It may not be enough structurally to move her out, but the energy's off, and you just got to stop texting. You got to pull back. And really big lesson for guys is that whenever you start to detect this behavior, whenever you get her being short on 3 texts in a row, you just stop. Make it the 3-strike rule. 1 text, okay, whatever. 2, give it. I mean, you could even do it at 2. But I'm trying to be like healthy relationship. You don't have to play games. When you get 3, you send 3 things and she's not engaging, you just cut it off. I don't mean break up, but I just mean do not text her. Do not text her. Do not attempt to engage her. Pull back. Flip the polarity. You got to do it. And then you can have a conversation about it later on when you're back together. Like what was going on. And then maybe she says, "I don't know, you're just being really intense." And then you can call her out, but good feedback, right? I just avoid women. Well, I don't know if this is the right periscope for you, but they can be exhausting. They can also be invigorating. Depends on your understanding about them and how to and your own psychology towards them, how you view them in your life. Okay. So we got 2 more here. I'm going to save the really big one for last. We got a really, really big one. We got another short one here, though. You tweeted this. Women are not attracted to a man on a mission. They're attracted to a man on an adventure. If you could kindly elaborate on this, it would be great. Okay. One of the things about the manosphere that's really fascinating is no, I won't say it's fascinating. I'll just speak plainly. Guys in the manosphere, girls want to have fun. Girls want to have fun. That's exactly right. And guys in the manosphere think way too much about. It's raining enough now that I don't know if you guys can see. It's raining enough now that my wine is starting to get diluted. So I gotta move this stuff. I gotta move it. Girls just want to have fun. Okay, girls just want to have fun. No questions about it. Girls just want to have fun. Guys in the manosphere very often don't seem to get that. They don't seem to get that. They think that women want a guy who's fucking rich and works all the time and is just making bank and he's going to own everything. I mean, look, are you more likely to get a woman if you're that powerful? Of course you are. Of course you are. Of course, your pre-selection is going to be super high. You can be like, the Wolf of Wall Street. She liked it when things were going really exciting. And then, she bailed. She fucked somebody else, right? And actually, it's not even a good example because Wolf of Wall Street, was actually creating lots of tension and desire, just like, the mob boss kind of girlfriends. But they're not getting any attention. Okay, when you're working on your mission, they're not getting attention. When your mission in particular is something really bland, like, and I'm not saying don't do this, guys, but you know, political activism, trying to register somebody on a campaign, really trying to work within the system. I'm a lobbyist. I help to you know sell pharmaceuticals to third world nations. I don't know, whatever. Like, this is, some of you might say that's not really a mission, and so that's why it doesn't inspire her. And it's true that an idealistic mission is more likely to engage a woman's emotions than some sort of dry mission, like, I'm trying to make car factories more efficient. Okay, that's not really going to excite a woman. By the way, I'm not trashing any of this stuff. This is like guy shit. These are things that guys care about. Guys change the world by caring about some of these things, by caring about the details. It's not a negative. It's not a negative. But for attraction, it doesn't do anything. Okay? I want to really emphasize this. You being successful doesn't fucking matter that much. It doesn't matter that much. She likes the comfort of your success, but you being successful and you be like, oh man, I'm on a mission. Sometimes a mission is even really cool, and she's still going to get tired to it. Well, everything a man does is everything a man does to attract women? No, it's not. I mean, that's not for me. It's not for me. But it's important also at the same time to be like, if you don't understand how women work and what they're interested in, I mean, you are going to make it more difficult to have a girl. I mean, I don't like these sort of binaries. Like, you're either doing everything to attract women, like hardcore PUA stuff, your life revolves around attracting women, or like, I don't care about women at all. I'm going to actively do whatever I want that has no involvement with women. I mean, neither of these outcomes are like, you're just going to have the guy who just does things to get women is going to get women in the short term and have an unfulfilling life because he's drifting, he's losing himself, he's experiencing death through each woman. So he's distracting himself from a higher purpose, which in the end makes him a lesser man. In my perspective, I think that people have their own path, but we have to be realistic here that a guy who does nothing with his life but tried to pick up women at a certain point, I don't know. I suppose there's a handful of ones that you could maybe say made a art out of it. Yeah, a balance. The point I'm trying to get to here is really more about just understanding the inputs. You can do with it what you want to do with it. You don't have to follow the formula if you don't want to. But women are not attracted to your mission. They do like a guy who has direction because it's a sign he's going someplace. But that's the comfort, right? What makes them excited is that the guy's life is an adventure and that he's going to go on an adventure with him. A good mission executed correctly is an adventure. Okay? Things are exciting. Some of these women, the issue eventually becomes comfort in the sense that the guy isn't spending enough time with her. It's maybe a little bit too wild. But Goodfellas is a good example, right? That movie. The guy's in the mafia, right? And he's hooking, like, he's all sorts of violence and, more and more success. But, like, it's an adventure because there's tons of risk and danger. This happens. She doesn't know where it came from. There's kind of like a wild ride going on here. He's got mistresses. She doesn't leave, though, when the mistresses are there. She leaves. And I want to emphasize not all women will do that. But just as to talk about the power of an adventure. She left when he got out. Isn't that interesting? She didn't leave when he had the mistresses. She left when he got out. But you can have a really, really positive, like, I'm going to be going in this direction. I'm going to be getting into fights. But there's fun. You have to bring the fun into the picture. You can't just view it like, oh, well, I got a mission. I'm a man on a mission. She doesn't fucking care. She doesn't care if you're trying to create rockets to go to Mars. You're a boring nerd if you don't make it fun. If you don't make it fun for her, you're a boring nerd. That's it. I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but it's true. But I think that it's easy to turn any mission into an adventure. No, I don't think it's selfish. It's just how they are. A lot of women will support you with that, but they're not going to be turned on. They're not going to be excited. It's really like it's weak for guys. Weak. I say weak, not in relative to women. I just mean I think as a guy, it's stupid to care so much one way or another. Why women think that way? Women are different. Women are wired completely differently, and it's great. Like I think a lot of guys get so frustrated, like date a dude. Then my wife is extremely supportive of my life and my vision, and I have so much fun being with her and doing things with her. It's like a reprieve. It's amazing. But I understand that like me just like I'm gonna scale this company. Like if there's not some sort of energy around that, that's like yeah we're gonna change the world. We're gonna do it together, and we're gonna be put in these situations that are exciting. And I'm gonna bring you along with me. I'm gonna take you with me on this. That's like exciting. A lot of guys don't take women with them. Their mission, this is another good point. It's like the mission is absent of the woman. The mission, like the woman's supposed to support their mission and then they go do that. Women don't like to be ignored. They need attention. They need to feel desired. So turn your mission into an adventure and include her. There's distinctions here. I think a lot of guys in the manosphere, they teach guys how to be better men. They don't teach them how to be more attractive men. And those are two different things. All right. Last, our absolute final question. It's a long question. Long question. All right. Hey, Pat. Hope your trip went well. Yesterday, I met up with a girl I met in college like 3 years ago. Backstory, I saw her in one of my classes and was really drawn to her from the moment I saw her. A very beautiful girl, amazing feminine energy. Discovered later she had a great family that owns a church. The problem was I had just rushed into a relationship with a bad matchup, but I felt safer. So I just stuck with that and never really made a move. But I introduced myself to her anyway, and we really hit it off and had chemistry. We quickly became close despite my relationship. She ended up getting into her own relationship, and my relationship didn't last very long. We would still text occasionally, and we'd meet up for coffee. We also had this Christian fellowship at school that would meet on Friday nights. And if we were there on the same nights, we always found ourselves talking and catching up privately. The chemistry was still always there, but I never really told her how I felt about her because there was never an appropriate time. I thought that she may feel the same way about me because I thought that 5-minute warning, guys. I thought she might feel the same way about me because of our chemistry, the way we'd make eye contact across the room. She'd compliment my personality frequently. She would text me first. She told me that she thinks of me often. My pre-selection is solid and just general intuition. Fast forward to now, I was able to pick up that she was likely out of her 2-year relationship because of deleted Instagram pictures and drastic hair change. She posted a picture and I gave her a compliment on her new hair and said we should get together. She quickly and enthusiastically agreed, and we decided on getting dinner. Last night we met up. I gave her a hug, and we ordered and I paid for our meal. We hadn't seen each other since February, but our chemistry was there again. She was open and honest with me. We were laughing and having a good time. She said that she had broken up with her boyfriend, her choice. I estimate about a month ago. After dinner, I drove us to the park for a night walk in a park and sat in an empty stadium and talked about life and what we want out of it. I wasn't escalating the way I wanted to. At the end of the night, I asked her if she wants to start spending more time together. She lit up, smiled, and said, of course. Then we hugged goodbye, yet I was unsatisfied with how I didn't express my desire or intention. So I stopped her and asked if she thinks of me as just a friend. Bad way of going about it, I know. I should have just stated my intention rather than nervously asking her. She said, yeah, I view you as a friend. I'm not in a place right now for anything else. To which I replied, I don't see you as a friend. I see you as more than that, and I thought you might feel the same. She basically asked why I thought she felt that way about me, and I just stated a couple of reasons, but didn't go super in depth because I knew I wouldn't really change anything. I asked, "Have you ever really never considered me as anything more? I feel like you're not being honest." She laughed and said she did at first, but found out I had a girlfriend and no longer entertained the thought. Then she got into her relationship and never could entertain it or explore those feelings. Oddly enough, she seemed the most flirtatious during this conversation. She was playing with her hair, smiling, and kept telling me how thankful I was that I told her. How thankful she was that I told her. I didn't know where to go from there, but I thought of anything but the friend zone, so I just said, we can't hang out if I'm just going to be seen as a friend, and we pretty much left it at that. I feel like I shouldn't have told her yet in this context. I should have just hung out with her and gave her a chance to explore feelings that she had repressed before. How badly did I fuck this up? I feel like the only option at this point is to wait for her to think about things and see if she hits me up ever. This is a really, really good story. So I'm all about the deadline thing, but he's right that he didn't give it enough time. He didn't give enough time to sort of, okay, we can be friends, and then but you actually build up the attraction and you allow things to progress from there. He didn't do that. How to proceed from here? I mean, I can talk a little bit more about that. I just want to kind of move through this quickly. Basically, she was attracted, but she had told herself that there wasn't anything else. And when he made a move and he stated his intention, she started to actually like that attraction started to become reborn. But he didn't give it enough time to develop into like properly grow. So he pulled back again. And as a more feminine girl, she may have some issues with going forward with it. So here is the sort of way to deal with it, because you can't just go and hit her up and say, I made a mistake, I want to hang out with you again. You can't do that. You're a man, you made your sort of boundaries. All this said, it's really starting to rain now. All this said, the energy, women love to be desired. If you guys, like, I really wish guys understood this. Another thing the manosphere doesn't talk about, women are drawn to men being desired to them. If you're a high status, high value guy, if you're a high value guy and you desire a woman, that's what she wants. She wants to be taken. She wants to be desired. All right. So she starts to feel this stuff, but then you pull back. It's okay for your desire for her to overwhelm you, that you have to talk to her. But here's the thing, you can't just hit her up out of the blue. Just put yourself in situations where she's going to be in. Put yourself in situations where she's going to be in. And then you see her there, and then you guys are going to make eye contact. There's going to be eye contact across the room, and then you can go and talk to her. And you can be like, do you want to go get ice cream? Do you want to go get a drink? Do you want to go get whatever? Because now what's happening is that you're not reaching out to her, but in the presence of her, you can't help yourself. Maybe you wait one time, maybe you see her and there's the eye contact. And then the next time you go and see her, right? The point here is that creates tension, and a lot of female romance stories revolve around this. So it is salvageable. I want to emphasize it's salvageable. You just can't, you have to make it so that it happens naturally, that seeing her, you can't, your desire is like, she sees that you desire her, but there's this barrier. This is like huge for women, especially women from this background. So that's my advice, guys. And I got to go. I'll see you later.